You're listening to the Potaholics Comedy Network. Potaholics.com.
Hey, you guys, how's it going? Welcome to Cooked. I'm your host, Kelsey Cook, and oh my God, the guest I got this week, I'm still a little bit in shock because this was like within 24 hours that it happened, and I'm just still surprised. I can't believe it. My guest this week is Jim Norton. Holy shit. Like, he is so amazing. Such an incredible comedian. I just feel so lucky that I got to have him on. He tweeted that he was going to be in LA this weekend. I was looking for some podcasts to do. So I threw my name and Cooked out there, and this happened. So I got really lucky, and I hope you guys really enjoy this episode. I had a blast recording it with him. He's so nice, so goddamn funny, and it just a little warning, not like it, I mean, if you've been listening to Cooked for a while, it's no surprise to you that it can get pretty dirty sometimes. But yeah, we talk about a lot of shit, so it is not for the faint of genitals. Just a heads up, we get into some stuff, but I think it's really interesting and really funny, so I hope you guys like it. With that, if you guys could please go follow Jim if you don't already, at jimnorton.com. His Twitter is at Jim Norton. He has a new special coming out a week from today. So this is coming out on April 17th. His new special, called Contextually Inadequate, comes out April 24th on Epix. So mark that on your calendars. Check it out. It's going to be amazing. If you don't follow me on Twitter already, please do at Kelsey Cook, KelseyCook. You can go to my website, kelseycook.com. I am in the La La Fest, the Inside Jokes Festival in LA this week, so you can see me tonight at Bar Lubitsch at 8 p.m. for the Peachy Keen show there. I'm really excited for that. And there's just some other ones coming up, so go check that out. And please, if you haven't yet, take a second and go subscribe to Cooked on iTunes. Give it a 5-star rating and review. It, honest to God, takes 1 minute. Takes literally like 60 seconds. It takes no time at all. Just take a second, go subscribe, give me a 5-star rating review. It helps the show move up so much. If you can take a second, you would be amazed at how much it helps the ratings on iTunes. So do that. Oh, Jesus, my cat. Hey, knock that shit off. My cat is destroying all of the things that we love in our home. Also, if you have any shopping to do, make sure you do it through potaholics.com/cooked, COOKD. If you click the support the show banner, it takes you to Amazon. Everybody shops at Amazon all the time. We all love it. It's amazing and great. And if you do it through that link, I get a little bit of the money spent. So it's a win-win. It's awesome. With that, no further ado. Let's get into it. I hope you guys love the show. Oh, we're getting to the good stuff, people. Here we go.
Why would you think naming your kid Northwest would be cool?
He weighs 1,000 pounds.
I had a coffee and got the tires changed and had an abortion.
One more reason for me to roast it.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser! Good. More for me and you.
All I hear is like pork chop sandwiches.
You have retarded rabbit feet.
You're an asshole.
That ruins the joke completely!
Sexy time segment.
Dude, there's a woman pulling a bird out of her vagina.
No, not like a little bitch.
I want to make a sweater for your penis. You've been cooked.
You've been cooked!
This room is amazing, by the way. The whole hotel is like insanely gorgeous.
Yeah, this was the first hotel I ever stayed at in LA. It wasn't the London.
Really?
It was, I think it was 1997. I came with 3 other comedians. It was the Wyndham Bellage back then.
Okay.
And the Louis Anderson Show was a stand-up show on Santa Monica Boulevard, or Santa Monica Pier, sorry.
Okay.
And this was the hotel we stayed at. And there was 4 of us. The rooms were structured differently. They were like, there was like a little step in the middle of the room that went down, and there was 4 of us in the room, two or three of us in the bed, and 1 or 2 of us on the couch.
Okay.
That was my first time out here.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, all comedians. Jim Florentine, a guy named Lenny Marcus, and another guy named Rich Francesi, all New Yorkers.
Wow, in 97?
I think it was 97, yeah.
That's crazy.
Because I met Dice Clay that weekend.
Oh, okay.
And me and Jim went furniture shopping with him. And then Andrew went on the road, and he liked us. So he called me, and he goes, he's like, do you want to be my opener? And I'm like, yeah. So
From furniture shopping?
From furniture, we had a good time. We hung out.
That's like, isn't that weird how comedy works like
It
that?
is,
Like
yeah.
the most random things and then boom.
Well, I met him because his opener worked for Louis Anderson, and I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, we're big Dice fans. We saw him at the Comedy Store, and she's like, oh, he'll love it. So it was all from being in LA, that one trip.
Wow.
And then from there, I got to radio. So that one trip to LA changed my life.
Oh my God. That's so cool to hear those kind of backstories like
Yeah.
that and see the little ways that it happened. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for doing Cooked.
Well, thanks for reaching out. I mean, you tweeted, and I was supposed to do Adam Carolla and a couple of other ones, but he canceled because he has an event, and I'm like, I got to schedule some more podcasts. So I'm happy that you reached out. Thank you.
Of course, yeah. I mean, looking at the list of the people who replied, I was like, oh, I'll throw it out there. But I know that when you got here, you did Joe Rogan, you've done Jay Moore, Bert Kreischer, and anything else?
I did Kevin and Bean.
Oh, that's right, Kevin and Bean.
This morning, I had 3 phoner interviews, and then tomorrow I have The Nerdist.
Damn.
And Allison Rosen and Dr. Drew, I think, are the 3 I have tomorrow.
Oh my God.
But it's like you got to promote,
Yeah.
The fact that anybody will have me on I'm happy for it. You know what I mean? You just got to promote.
I'm so happy that you came on because I immediately had, as soon as you tweeted that, I had fans of Cooked tweet at me and be like, oh my God, go try and get him on. And
Yeah.
so I haven't told anybody yet, and I'll like post a picture of us after we do this.
Oh, good.
I bet people are going to like shit their pants.
Oh,
I'm gonna
good,
be so
good, good.
excited. So yeah, this is awesome. And how long are you in LA?
I go home Saturday morning. UFC is in New Jersey, so I might go watch that.
Okay.
I was going to stay the whole weekend until go home. I do radio Monday, so I have to be home.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll stay till Sunday, but then I'm like, nah, just go back.
Yeah.
I never stay. Once I'm not working, I leave the next morning immediately.
Yeah. And do you usually do this kind of buffet of podcasts and radio stuff when you're in a place?
I'll do all of it because I do radio. I know that this arrogance that certain performers have about doing radio, they won't do it. And it's almost like podcasts help you draw more
For sure.
than a little local, if you're going to do TV, you're going to do Kimmel, you're going to do Fallon, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're doing some little shitty local morning show, like radio show, I mean, TV show, like those little news hits they do, like nobody watches those. Yeah. They don't help. But publicists will put their clients there because it's TV and the publicist feels better about themselves. But podcasts are a targeted audience. They're people who are going to download it, going, we like you, we want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're much more likely to respond.
For sure.
So I wish more people would realize that and do radio and do podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I think I've had Cooked now for like 2 years, and it's so funny because at least for me, starting the podcast seemed like such a small venture, like, oh, whatever, it'll be fun. It's another good outlet to have another thing going on. And then it amazes me how many people want to be on podcasts and want to talk and I think the structure, I tweeted at you the questions that I ask. People generally like answering those questions,
Sure.
I think, because I don't know. I don't think many people get asked like point blank, what's the most embarrassing sex story you have?
Oh, I forgot you had those, yeah.
Most people have some really good ones that they just don't ever see the light of day because, like not many people just ask that.
Sure. No, it's good.
People have got some gold mines.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to talk about that stuff, but I'm like, most of my stories I've told, so I mean, I'm fine with all of them.
Oh, good. Okay, awesome. So, couple things. Do you want to plug your Twitter and website and all of that up front?
Just JimNorton.com and Jim Norton on Twitter.
Okay.
And I have a special the 24th coming out on Epix and EpixHD.com, and it's also on Netflix 3 months after. It's called Contextually Inadequate. So
Awesome. I saw the poster today. It's hysterical.
where was it?
I think it was just on your website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they say that they put it up or it's on billboards, but I haven't seen it. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So usually the first segment that I do, it's called the Who's Getting Cooked segment, and it's basically like roasting any newsworthy idiots of the week. And I also ask you to share what the dumbest thing is that you've ever done.
Sure.
And you're perfect for all of this stuff because you're an amazing roaster and like good at picking apart people. And I looked at an article right before I came that I thought was perfect for this, what you wrote for Time Magazine on Trevor Noah.
Thanks.
So well written. Like,
Thank
I
you.
really, really loved everything. And there was something in particular that I wrote down because I wanted to share it. You said, and this is talking about Trevor Noah offending people on Twitter, which I mean, like, obviously being comedians, we look at those people that get offended all the time, and it's like, oh, Jesus, you know, like, we can't, you're right, we can't really do anything anymore. And what you said was, there's simply no way to consistently do the type of comedy that addresses these things, like religion, race, social beliefs, without upsetting somebody. No matter which direction you turn to aim the joke, somebody's getting hit. And I love that, and it's so true. And I feel like, as a writer, as a comedian, do you ever get in your head now, just knowing that that's how it is sometimes, that no matter what you say, somebody's going to get rubbed the wrong way, or are you just like, fuck it?
I don't care. I mean, it's
Good.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between just doing your stuff and not having, comedians are not supposed to respect people's social boundaries.
Right.
That's not our job.
Right.
Is to go, well, there's your line. Let me respect that. Like, what fucking good comedian
Right.
looks at people's lines and goes, oh, sorry, folks, I didn't mean to cross that. That's silly.
Right.
But there's a difference between just that and just being purposefully antagonistic, like with no jokes. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure,
Like, you
yeah.
want to avoid that too, because that's a temptation that some comedians fall into that trap where they think they're being edgy just to go up and go like, well, fuck the church.
Right.
That's a fine sentiment, but at least just put a joke to it. Like, you can say fuck the Pope, fuck the church, all of it, fuck Islam, but put a joke to it. That's all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I loved everything you said in there, and so particularly I read the tweets of the people who are like so upset about Trevor Noah, and I also like that you were like, some of the things were funny, some of them weren't. Just kind of being like, in general, yeah, I mean, some of this was just like whatever it is, but it's still not intended to like make anybody's, like, ruin anybody's life. Well, it's a joke.
What I always like to do is if you're writing something or if I'm performing something, I like to cut off people's exits. Like, if I make a point, like, I always want people to not be able to back out that easily.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, some were funny, some weren't. This way they can't weasel out of it by going, well, his stuff wasn't funny. I'm acknowledging that. Some of it was good, some of it wasn't. Who cares?
Right.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Shearer, who was, he's one of the Simpson voices, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
On Twitter, Penn Jillette retweeted my article. So Harry tweeted, well, here's what he missed. It has to be funny. So because he mentioned me in it, I wrote back, I didn't miss it. I just, the point was that if the goal is to be funny, that's enough.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, he's like, no, that's not enough. And there's nothing worse than someone who thinks he understands humor. A guy who's been involved with humor for that long.
Yeah.
Look, you're Jewish. You don't like any type of a joke about Jewish stereotypes. You may feel that they enforce those stereotypes. Fair enough.
Right.
But don't act like all of a sudden that's the one area we shouldn't go into because it's not funny. Shut the fuck up and stop pretending you don't. The intent to be funny is everything.
Yes, yeah.
Because who's to judge if it's funny or not funny? There's plenty of people that might have liked his jokes. That's just comedy snobbery. That's irritating.
For sure. And I've always felt like comedy is like people's taste in comedy is even more subjective than their taste in music.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people are so opinionated and specific on like, oh, they're funny. And if somebody gets rubbed wrong once, they're like, fuck them. Like, totally. And they're very vocal about it. I feel like I notice that even more with comedians than music. Like, people feel a really strong entitlement to put a label on somebody and be like, not funny, because I heard one thing that offended me.
Yeah, you know what it is? Because musicians are playing instruments and most people know that they can't, or they're singing and most people know that they can't. But everyone has said something funny. Everyone has given an opinion. So for some reason, people feel like they are somehow a piece of the creative process, like because you need them to laugh. There is a give and take with an audience.
Sure.
Whereas with music, there might be a little bit less of a give and take because you're performing all of it.
Yeah.
If they're rocking, that's great. But if they're not, your song is still the same.
Yeah.
But they're not part of the creative process. I always think you have two options as an audience member: laugh or stare. That's it. Yeah. Don't fucking groan at me. Don't, oh, come on. Don't act like you're wounded. You saw Django and enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Right. That's
what bothers me. Is they give us such a hard time, but they all slow down to look at car accidents. They all like pornography. So you can't take their outrage seriously because it's bullshit.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I loved listening to your Ted the Roaster character, and I just thought how awesome that would have been if you would have somehow done like an audio clip bashing the people who were bashing Trevor Noah, or like be one of those people bashing Trevor Noah in that voice.
Well, Ted the Roaster, Ted is a radio character I do, Ted Scheckler.
Right.
I think Jeff Ross was in that day actually. And Opie and Anthony fans understand who Ted is or Chip Chipperson or Uncle Paul or Edgar.
Yes.
But non-O&A fans, I don't know if you're familiar with the show at all, but
Yeah.
non-radio show fans have no idea.
Right.
I was just on Jay Moore's show, and he wanted me just to keep doing Chip. And I'm like, fine, I'll do it. But I know that most of your audience hates it because they have no idea who Chip is.
Yeah.
Which is fun to me, kind of.
Yeah, I actually, so my boyfriend, who's also a comedian, is a huge fan
Oh,
of
is he
you
really?
and huge fan of O&A, and he wanted me to specifically ask you, where did that character come from? Where
Which
did
one?
Chip come from? And what was it like introducing him to Opie and Anthony and other comedians?
Chip, all of those characters came from in my personal life. I would annoy my girlfriends with them. I legitimately would annoy. Like Chip was just so embarrassing. And I told the story on Rogan but what I would do is I would just tell bad jokes in Chip's voice in a cab, and it would really annoy the girl I was with. Or we'd be in a restaurant and she would order, like, in a steakhouse, and she would order like something like, I'll have the steak, and then Chip would go, how much is that? And she was like, people think I fuck this guy. It's not funny. It's humiliating because people think that I really like you and that's who you are. So I realized, like, I got such a gut reaction out of that and the other characters. And I'm like, I got to do something with these.
For sure.
And on the radio, Opie and Anthony both hated Chip a lot. And that made it satisfying to do. If they had just enjoyed him, I would not have done him.
Right.
But the fact that it really bugged them for a while made it worthwhile.
Like a visceral hate.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Oh,
Very
God.
satisfying.
There is something about the voice and just like the opinions of that character that
awful.
make you like you just want to shower. You're like covered in like a coat of slime or
Awfulness.
something.
Yeah, when Anthony would be doing live reads, and I would always go over and touch him as Edgar, and it was like with my fingernail. And he would be in the middle of a read for a sponsor. He'd go, "Stop touching me, Edgar!" And it made me so happy that he actually had to sink to my world to call me Edgar.
Right.
It's so silly. It just reminded me of what I like about being funny and hanging with funny people.
Right.
It's like it's a goof. The whole thing is silly.
Yeah.
We're just acting like assholes. You and your friends are fucking around. Like that's the fun part of this.
Yes, truly. So yeah, that was kind of the portion of the Who's Getting Cooked segment I want to talk about because you did such a good job roasting those people in the article. And that is like one of the things I like to do in that segment. And then I wanted you, if you can, to share one of the stories of the dumbest thing that you've ever done, or one of them.
One of the dumbest things I've ever done in any particular...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people's involve alcohol, obviously.
I remember one time I was... I tried to call a bomb threat into the White House.
Oh, my God.
But I was young. I was like 12 years old. I was in a public library.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Every layer of what you said just like keeps getting crazier.
I was in a North Brunswick Public Library. I must have been maybe 13. I was very young. And I think I tried to call a bomb threat in, but I only got to the operator or the Washington, D.C. operator. I did call a bomb threat into my high school when I was drunk, and I cleared out the whole school.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was an antisocial. You know, the only reason I wasn't a shooter is because I didn't have a gun. I mean, it was very antisocial.
Yeah.
We were drunk, though, when we did that. That one I was very drunk for. I called the FBI. Oh, I called some Klansman. I got drunk one time. He was a preacher in the Ku Klux Klan. I found his name in a book. So I actually tracked him down like 411 back way before cell phones.
Right.
And I got him on the phone. I was 16 and drunk. And I started yelling at him for being a racist. He's like, well, I'm not in the Klan anymore. And actually wound up having a chat with this fucking Klansman, which was fairly stupid. But at the end, it worked out.
Right. Oh my
in the end.
God. So a lot of yours were like in the youth. There's not
And
a lot
alcohol
right.
induced. Yeah, I mean, I've done stupid things as an adult. I just can't. I can't think of any offhand, but if I do, I'll tell you. I mean, those are just the ones that come to mind.
If something springs up throughout this, you let me know.
Sure. I'll tell you something dumb I did as an adult. I did this a few years ago. I was dating a girl, and I was talking dirty on my phone to another girl. I was dirty texting.
Okay.
But it was not a girl I had ever fucked. And I was just, talking, intriguing, saying, hey, come over, I'll give you 500. Just being really dirty and perverted and trading photos. And I hit the wrong button on my phone, and it printed my conversation. Went right to the printer.
Fuck. Oh, my God.
So the next day, my girlfriend, who was going to school, taking something in school, wakes me up. And she goes, I know all about your chat with what's her name. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it fucking printed. And I took that to school, and I almost turned that in with my paper because she printed her paper not knowing
my
this
God.
text conversation was under it. So she almost handed in my dirty text conversation to her fucking professor. And wow, that was a bad moment. And that's probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. 'Cause I was totally sober. I was an adult.
That's kind of incredible, though. At the same time, it's like dumb, but like holy shit.
The only good thing was she knew by the context of the discussion that I really wasn't sleeping with the girl.
Right.
Because she could tell by what she said, like I've never hooked up with her. You know?
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that saved me. But that was a doozy. That was a bad one.
That was a doozy.
Yeah.
So she didn't break up with you after that?
No, we went to Vegas. I took her to Vegas, and
Vegas patches everything.
I got food poisoning in Vegas, and she felt bad for me. We broke up not long after that.
Okay.
And now I'm going to see her tonight. She lives out here now.
Oh,
She's
no
my
way.
closest friend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that ended up nicely. Then.
Yeah. She's awesome.
I've never heard of that before. Like, I mean, there's obviously so many weird things, but like people seeing text or like texting the wrong person, but like
Sure.
a full printout and then almost turning it in.
Yeah,
that's like
silly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That was a fucking Lulu, man. Wow.
That's a perfect story.
Yeah.
Perfect story. Okay, so then this is like totally shifting gears, but I do a segment called The Breakdown where I ask you, so you're from New York, live in New York. You're from New Jersey, right?
Jersey originally, yeah.
Okay, but you live in New York now?
Yep, since 2002.
Okay. What are your top 3 favorite food spots in New York? Which I'm sure is like a loaded question because it's New York. But
no, it's easy. I mean, it's the place called the Porterhouse, which is a steakhouse in Time Warner.
Okay.
In the Time Warner building. I love that place a lot.
Okay.
Sushi of Gary is a place on 78th and Columbus. I love their sushi.
Ooh, okay.
Let me think. You know, it might be the Olive Tree Restaurant, which is above the Comedy Cellar, which is where all the comedians hang out.
Okay.
I love that place. I love it.
Awesome.
The Middle Eastern food, and most of my meals are eaten there. So I would say there's my third favorite.
Oh, perfect. And then how often do you come out here?
I'm out here. I mean, since Leno left, I was out here all the time for Jay, but I mean, I come out when I have to promote or when I'm doing a gig, so it's usually just when I'm promoting.
Okay.
So not nearly as often as I like, because I really do like LA a lot.
Do you really?
But I get lazy out here. I don't feel very creative when I'm here, so I have to have a reason to be here.
Interesting. Why? Like, what do you think the difference is between that and New York?
I don't know. There's just a different energy in New York plus that's where radio is, that's where the Comedy Cellar is, that's where I live my whole life.
Yeah.
The rhythm of living there is just different than the rhythm of living here.
Sure.
And I feel like I have to be doing something there. But here, it's nice out and relaxed. I eat like shit when I'm here. I go to the gym.
Yes.
In New York, I'm much more motivated for some reason. I don't know why.
That's so interesting. My boyfriend and I just moved here like 3-4 months ago from Seattle.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I had lived here for a couple summers before doing comedy, but
Did you guys meet doing comedy?
yeah, about 3 years ago at an open mic.
Okay.
And yeah, so which I know is always like the weird, rare comedian couple situation that actually works out for more than like 6 weeks. It usually is not.
I dated a comedian for a year and a half, and that ended. She caught me cheating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, like it's hard to date another comedian. It's like huge pros and then big drawbacks sometimes too. Would you date another comedian, you think?
You know, it would depend. I mean, it depend on who, obviously, and
Right.
I would, sure. She was awesome.
Yeah.
I was just fucked up. You know, she's just another one who's a friend of mine now. I mean, I'm a great friend. Yeah, I'm a shitty boyfriend. Maybe not as much now and years later, because this was years ago.
Okay.
But it took her a while to forgive me and be my friend. So I'm happy she,
Yeah.
you know, because I was her friend before.
Are you single right now?
Yeah,
Can I ask
for
that?
3 years.
Okay.
And it's not hard to find people to date. It's not hard to find people to sleep with, but it's hard to find someone that you want to have sex with, but who you enjoy after, and like who is funny and smart to be around, and
For sure,
like
yeah.
who you want to go to a spa with, or just, hey, let's take a flight here. You know, it's like that's the kind of stuff that I miss.
Yeah.
Sex is very easy. You can get anywhere, or you buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with somebody who to hang out with,
Yeah.
that's the hard part.
Yeah. I mean, you realize that is the vast majority of your life is mostly
Absolutely.
doing nothing. And so
Yeah.
if you can not only tolerate somebody all the time, but actually enjoy it. Like I am always amazed at that with Kane. I generally never get sick of him. And I'm always
Right.
like, yeah, it's probably like a good fit.
It's really important.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because for me, it's like the other. If it's only going to be the other 23 hours and 59 minutes, it's like, all right, what do we do if that's all we're based on? It's going to
Right.
be a very awkward amount of time together.
But that magical minute.
Yeah. Oh, please forget it. Caution to the wind. Yeah, but that's good if you get along. If you don't get sick of each other, you should stick with that one. That's important.
Yes, I mean, like I said, the pros and cons.
Sure.
So it's hard for me to picture being with somebody who isn't a comedian anymore at this point, just because like that level of understanding is so huge.
And also, you have to respect somebody's humor, because there's nothing worse than an unfunny motherfucker. It's the worst. The person who stinks at being funny.
And who's persistent about it too. Like, don't you want to just fucking hang yourself in a crowd? Like when you see that happening on stage, you're like, I can't.
Well, this is the difference
here.
between men and women. Like, I think as a man, if I date a woman who's not necessarily funny, she's not going to feel the need to compete with me to be as funny. But as a comedian, as a female, if you date a guy who's not a comic,
right,
and he sees how funny you are, as a man, that's going to bother him, and he's going to try to compete with you and make you laugh and be funnier. That's just like an alpha thing to do,
right,
and you're going to fucking have zero respect for him,
right,
and you're going to hate him.
Right.
So you probably have to date somebody who's at least as, you know what I mean? Because I think...
Yeah. And I'm like, when you're talking about like maybe like most girls feeling that way, I have always felt like I need to be like as funny or funnier. Like that bothers me if like I'm not bringing enough to the table. Do you know what I mean? But that's because I like this is what I do. I know I'm
well,
not
you have
the
a comedian's
typical
mentality.
Yeah. It's not the normal thing, but
I've just never had a woman feel a need to like I've never felt like somebody I was dating was competing with me to be funny. But I can definitely. I've seen so many men that feel that need to compete.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of women that do it too. I just haven't noticed it.
Yeah. But yeah, we moved down here, and that's something like everything you talked about, that feeling in LA is like, that's totally how we feel down here.
Sure.
And I know it's obviously a big process to get comfortable in this scene and all of that, but yeah, it's like the days go so fast and you're like, I haven't written anything new in like a month. What the fuck's happening? So it's not a good feeling.
Yeah, in New York I get on every night.
Yeah.
You know, and I shot the special, and it airs next week, and it's like now, it's like I shot at the end of January. So for the last couple months, I've just been going on with, it's like you just got the act, it's gone, that hour's gone, start over.
Yeah.
You gotta go to the clubs every night and work it out, and then something will happen, and you're like, okay, that's kind of something, and you know, go on the road a little bit and try to have at least a new 45 or 40. I've had a new 30 right now. So it's enough to go on the road with.
Right.
You play with the audience a little bit. You do a few minutes that they've seen before, and they're happy. You know, but you can't give them a whole hour that they've seen.
Oh yeah. That's I'm kind of in a place right now where do you know Uproar? Their comedy label. They want to record my first album, but I have this anxiety of like, if I do that, then I feel like I have to start from scratch, and I don't know if I'm ready.
Right. Well, make sure with anybody you sign anything with, really have a lawyer look at that stuff.
For sure. That's why I've been hesitant, because it's like I've heard.
Sure.
Yeah. Some kind of like, I mean, I feel like that's with most record labels. Some people have bad experiences. Some people have great ones.
Maybe they're fine. I don't even know who they are. But in general, I would be hesitant to put it out with anybody, whereas you could just put it out yourself and own it.
Yeah.
Because how much does it cost to tape a CD? I mean,
it's like nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Very easy to do.
Yeah.
You spend a little bit of money, and then you own it forever.
Yeah.
And then you can sell it in places. Then all you need is a distributor.
Right. I feel like that's probably the better route. That's what I've heard from people. So this is kind of the last thing we talked about a little bit. It's like, it's called my sexy time segment. And you talked about that you're single right now. But you've had, I feel like, where did I hear you? I heard you talking about a girlfriend and doing your voices to her and hating them. I know you talked about that earlier in this episode. Is that something that, like, do you love finding that in a girl, that you can just like get under their skin, but that they'll still love you no matter what?
I mean, if it's fun though, it has to be fun. It's not like needling them like you're getting fat. Like, it's not that type of dick thing. It's like, I really am having fun when I do it, and they're having fun with it too. Like, I need a woman who can think like that. And, you know, my ex was so funny with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm animating these characters, and she's working on it with me because she really gets it.
Yeah.
But if she genuinely just dismissed it and didn't enjoy it, it wouldn't have been fun to do. Yeah. So you need somebody who's kind of got the same sense of humor, at least about certain things.
For sure. And you were talking about kind of like how you feel as a comedian in a relationship versus being with a girl. How important is it to you that she can make you laugh? And like, do you know what I mean? As a comedian, do you care? Because I know some guys here, comedians, that like feel like they need somebody to be on that level with them, and then some they're like, I just want an audience, basically.
I don't need either. Like, I like someone who's funny. I respect that.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, if I find somebody sexy, that's always a personality thing anyway. So if someone is sexy to me because their personality is sexy, I can enjoy them for that and still like them as people and still respect them.
Yeah.
The only time if someone's not funny, it bothers me if they're always trying to be funny. But if someone's just not a funny person, I'm okay with that. Like, you know what I mean? I can't sing. So, you know what I mean? Maybe you date someone who's great at math. I suck at math. Like, you know, but I do like it when they have that combination is nice because it's nice to be around somebody who makes me laugh. I do like that.
Yeah. And what are I usually ask this too, what are your top 3 turn-ons and top 3 turn-offs? Like, can you think of anything off the bat?
Top 3 turn-ons?
Yeah.
Like, physically? It can be anything? Or
be anything, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I just saw your brain.
No, but I mean, it's like I don't know you, so I don't want to be saying awful things. You know, I like certain types of vaginas. I think are really sexy.
Okay.
Larger ones I like.
Larger?
Meatier ones, yeah. But I've talked about that for years on stage. Meaty vaginas, I like that a lot. That's my number 1 turn on.
What?
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
A meaty vagina?
Yeah. And I never would have said that to you if you didn't. I like.
Oh my God! Don't trust me. You can't. Like this is what I talk about. On this. You're fine.
That turns me on a tremendous amount. It's not necessary for me to like someone.
Okay.
But there's a visceral reaction to that. Scent I can like a lot. If somebody like when I date women, I like a lot of times if they don't wear deodorant, if they smell a certain way, like that's an animal thing that makes me fucking crazy. Bad smell though will kill it though. That's to me. That's how nature tells you this is who you should hang with. Right. Like I've dated girls who were clean and showered all the time, and their smell repulsed me. It wasn't that they were dirty.
Interesting. I've totally experienced that too with a guy where it's like you're clean, but whatever, like the cologne you're choosing to wear or just your natural, like I can't. Your
pheromones are off, or your mouth tastes fucked up, or your hair smells weird. There's just something about you that repels, and that's the way it is. Whereas with someone, we have that thing. I've had girls. Literally, my ex-girlfriend, I would throw her deodorant out. She'd be like, "I fucking stink at work." She was really funny.
No, you threw it out.
Oh yeah, I would throw it out, and she would have no deodorant. It was really awesome.
Oh my God, it'd be a fucking nightmare.
She was a pervert though. She kind of got it because she would come over and just fucking lay in my bed for 3 days and stink. She didn't care. But then when she had this job at Abercrombie and Fitch, she's like, "I fucking stink. I need it."
Oh my God.
So those are 2 of my visceral turn on.
Right.
3rd turn on. I would say good dirty talk.
Okay.
Is really important, and it's not necessarily stuff that's like, "Ooh, fuck me." It's not always the obvious stuff. It's someone who can read me or is slightly intuitive in that area. That's a turn on.
Yeah.
And again, I don't mean be a mind reader, know everything I want.
Right.
But part of being comfortable with somebody physically or sexually, I think, is like knowing, like kind of anticipating a little bit.
Yeah.
And someone not always having to say, like, "Can you do that? Can you do that?" Like,
yeah.
There's a certain amount of it we have to discuss, but a certain amount of it I think that someone who's intuitive picks up on your body language. Right. That's a big turn on for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it also tells them when not to touch you. Like, what's worse than somebody who's pawing all over you and you're like, you're fucking dying inside. You're like, "Take your fucking hands off me." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just they keep kissing you and you're like, "Stop it. Stop fucking kissing me."
And anytime that happens to me, I always call that like wet cat. Like you feel like a wet cat where you're like, like fucking don't touch anything. Don't look at me. Like,
yeah.
Wet cat syndrome.
So a certain amount of intuition, I think, can be a great. Because I've had women say things to me that were just. They literally, it was like a fucking sledgehammer to the stomach in a good way.
Like what? Do you remember? In a good way, like a good thing.
Oh, a great way.
Oh, okay. Can you like this is so interesting.
This won't translate as sexy, but to me, there used to be this girl I would talk dirty to in Connecticut. She was an awesome dirty talker. She was a little flaky, but great dirty talker.
Okay.
And she had a chubby ass, which I liked. And she sent me a picture of her ass in a thong. And like I like when you can't see a lot of the thong because the ass cheeks are kind of all over it.
Okay.
And so she sent me this picture, and I wanted to discuss it with her, because it was hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, your ass, you can't really see that thong." And she wrote back like, "Yeah, my ass eats thongs." And the language of that fucking drove me ballistic. It was so specific. It wasn't something cheesy that she pulled from a porno movie. No one's ever said those words in a row.
No. Yeah, that's the first time in the history of man my
Anyone
ass
said that
eats thong.
there was something so dirty about her saying that, and so specific
Yeah.
that it made me crazy. Stuff like that. It's very rarely.
And no fear. She clearly was like,
No.
balls to the wall. Don't care what you're going to think about this. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've had girls say stuff about fucking other guys that I liked, like girls. Who
Really?
would, yeah. Not that they were doing it in front of me, but just that they would taunt me about how they wanted to fuck other guys, and there was something
You
so
like that?
Oh yeah, a lot.
That usually makes most guys like be like,
I know.
fuck you, I'm done.
But what happened was, growing up, all men are insecure. Like, we want to know that you're enjoying us sexually. We always want to know we're okay and we're
Right.
adequate. But there's such fear with that, and there's such a terror with it. And it would, I would obsess about it.
Yeah.
And then a girl I started dating who was really dirty. I knew that, like, we were happy with each other's bodies sexually. I'm not insecure about my dick. Or,
Yeah.
But the guy she dated before me had a giant dick, like a porn dick. And she told me about that because I met her when she was a dominatrix. So she would tell me, like, all these dirty details.
Yeah.
And then once we stopped exchanging money and actually became a real couple, I had this fucking whammy, like, oh my God, her boyfriend's dick was giant. Like, not nice, but giant. And I knew she had a movie with him. She had filmed them fucking.
Okay.
So we were talking one time about, I wanted to see it. And it was so hot because I'm like, I really want to see this movie with you. We were fooling around. And she's like, you wouldn't like it. And I'm like, why? She's like, you would not like the way I acted in this movie. She was telling me that I wouldn't like the fact that she appreciated that. It was so fucking pornographic. So I did watch it with her.
Wow.
And it totally changed my perspective on that stuff forever. Like, it was no longer threatening. It was dirty.
Yeah.
So I took something that would have fucked me up and would have sabotaged what became a pretty good relationship, and I made it just dirty, and we incorporated it into our dirty talk, and we would put ads online, and and she would call these guys while I fucked her, and she would talk about how she wanted to suck their cocks and fuck them, and it was safe and it was dirty, and it was like she was being. Because for men, we're always allowed to say, like, yeah, I crave this, I crave that. But women are never allowed to say that I crave this really dirty stuff.
Yeah.
So to see that side of it,
Yeah.
and for her to be open with me about that and to be in on it with her, drove me crazy. There was something very intimate about it.
Yeah. That's this is fascinating. I'm so happy that you're
Drove me
sharing
nuts.
this, because this is, most guys can't even stand, like, if there's a picture with your ex, literally just like a picture of him, or you wouldn't, like, delete it. I just don't want to see it. To watch your girl fuck that, like, that's never. I've never heard of that.
To watch a girl, if I was with a girl, to watch her actually, like, a couple of my girlfriends, I've watched them fuck, blow other guys, and I've, like, fooled around with girls in front of them, but I've never watched a girlfriend fuck. That might be hard.
Yeah.
To watch a girl just get really porno fucked, but a little oral sex is tolerable, and the fantasy of it's amazing.
Yeah.
Any type of taboo fantasy, like that type of stuff, because somebody is sharing something with you.
Yeah.
That nobody else knows.
Yeah.
And that's, like, there's this one girl I talked to in New York, and she has a very normal job, a very, very square job. I'll tell you off air what she does. It's a very normal job. And do you have a pen? I'll write it down.
Yes.
No?
Not on me. Okay.
But, we've talked dirty and stuff, and she was telling me she wants me to do all this stuff, and she's like, you're going to wear my panties while you do this. And I'm not necessarily a submissive like that.
Right.
I don't have any desire to cross-dress.
Yeah.
But, fuck it, I did it. Oh my God, yeah. It was because it was so perverted that she wanted me to do it.
Holy shit.
The fact that not one person she works with would ever believe she liked this stuff. So when she was over, and she was like, put them on. I was like, yeah. And then again, none of that stuff feels. I'm not homophobic and that shit. I don't care.
Right.
But it just felt so much fun that somebody, like, if it was a fantasy I had, like, oh, I want to wear panties, and then she said, okay, we're going to put panties on you, dirty boy, I'd be like, ugh, shut up.
Oh my God, it just sounded like vomit come up for a second.
That's not organic.
In that voice, dirty boy.
That's not organic. That's not. I've had dominatrixes walk into my apartment, and there's something very sexy about them, because, again, they're very intuitive people.
Right.
They normally don't fuck you either. They engage in other type of stuff, but they just read you really well, which is, again, I love that.
Yeah.
I've had doms walk into my apartment and go, "Hello, slave," and I'm like, "Shut up! What, are you wearing a Halloween costume? Can you not read that I'm not a slave? Like, that's not who I am." And like, don't it's much more subtle than that.
Right.
It's not that. So I don't know how we got off on this tangent.
No, I love it. This is, I mean, like I said, it's the sexy time segment. I want to hear like,
yeah, I love
all of
that
it.
stuff in people. I love the taboo. I love you'll find something about somebody and you'll know something about them that nobody who knows them knows.
Yeah, and then you feel like you're in on something
Really
special
close.
and cool too, because like you're talking about the girl. I don't know what she did, but clearly, like you said, nobody else would have known except you. That's
You'd
cool.
never look at her and think that she's that
Right.
dirty.
Right.
When she came over, she wanted to pee on me. And I'm fine with that, but I didn't do it the first time. I'm like, let's not do that yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like literally the first time she was over, she wanted to throw me in the tub. Like, that's how fucking perverted she was.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But again, you know, it was like, yeah, you know, let's not run the whole gamut the first time you're here.
Right.
Just, you know, throw the underwear on, we'll laugh about it later.
Let's go slow and throw the underwear on. Like, let's
Exactly.
do chapter 1.
Yeah, chapter 1, panties. We'll go out and have a nice vegan dinner tomorrow and, you know, get to know each other a bit. I don't want to do everything at once. I've also been spoiled in life where you do too much with somebody too fast and then there's no getting to know them process, or there's
Yeah.
it loses its sexiness because it's, there it is. It's almost like if you
Oh my
walk into
God.
a room and someone's just nude with their legs open, they're going, fuck me. You're like, come on.
Can you like wrap it up? Like put a
little
bow
bit.
on it a little bit?
Something. Yeah, or like, let's talk about things and lead into it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm big. Oh, even porn I like is mid to late 80s porn that had stories.
Yeah.
That had a certain, I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but I like when there was a scene. Like, I don't
Yeah.
like just gonzo porn that's straight up fucking. I like, and I envy people who do, because if you can just watch people fucking and you get turned on, to me, there's something very healthy about that. There's something very emotionally and
I
sexually
mean, but like
healthy.
that's really like the only porn I know, because I've never seen like old 80s porn.
Oh, yeah.
All the only porn I know is just like they're already fucking basically.
That's very
There's
healthy.
not even foreplay, but like that's, I don't know.
Because I envy people who can just watch it and enjoy it for that. Whereas
Yeah.
me, I need bells and whistles, and he's a milkman, and her husband's a quadriplegic. He was hurt in the war. Like, I need so much shit, and he can hear
Are
it.
their parents still together? Elementary school? What's the backstory?
Yeah, I like a good backstory. It drives me crazy.
That's incredible. What are your top turnoffs? I know you've talked about it a little bit, but like anything specifically that you're like, no, deal breaker if that happened, or
If somebody is judgmental of what I like, not that they have to like it,
right?
but I lose. Everything shuts off in me immediately.
Yeah.
The minute I feel scolded,
Yeah.
I shut down, and I remember I was talking to this girl I was seeing, and she was she's a girl I had wanted to fuck so badly for so long. I finally started dating her. And it was nice, and she was dirty, and she a perfect body. And then we were talking about some stuff. She's not a fan, so she didn't know me as a comedian. I've talked about all my dirt.
right. Yeah.
But I was talking to her about it, and she didn't know a lot of this stuff. And she's like, look, you can never tell me that again, because it really bothered her. And I got this scolding mom energy. And I remember we were eating lunch, and as she's talking, I realized I am losing every bit of affection for her.
oh God.
And by the end of the lunch, I had nothing.
Oh God. That quickly.
Dead.
Wow.
She's literally somebody I still talk to and I still like as a person.
Yeah.
And she dates other people and I'm happy for her. But because she told me some dirty stuff that had like incestuous overtones to it. Not full out incest, but weird vibe.
Yeah.
And I was totally fine with it. I wasn't judgmental about it. I mean, I was actually dirtier about it than she was.
Right.
But I didn't give her the fucking like, oh, that's gross, or you ought to be. So when I get that, I shut down from somebody immediately.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people who won't like what you like. That's cool. But when I get that fucking, don't give me that school teacher.
Like shame on you.
Shame
like
on you
any
energy.
Sort of shame. Ugh.
Forget it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. What about physically? Biggest turnoffs?
Bad breath is a turn off. What breath that you just don't click with?
Yeah.
I've smelled fresh breath. Again, we've all had bad breath sometimes. I'm not saying that the first time, forget it, dead. But I mean somebody where you know that that's just their scent.
Yeah. Some people just have weird breath. Like it's not like bad, but it's like a brand. It's like a cologne in their mouth that you don't like or
A
something.
weird cologne. It can be, but again, that could be a pheromone thing where that's nature telling the two of you don't mate.
Yeah.
Physically,
Lean vaginas.
Yeah, I mean, but no, I like them too. I mean, all vaginas are fine usually.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind small breasts, big breasts. I don't care. I like a nice ass, but it's like, there's really not many physical things because I think I can find something really sexy on most people,
right?
Unless it's a scent thing that you can't get by.
Right. The scent thing is interesting because I don't think it gets talked about that much, but like that's such a number one. It doesn't matter how somebody looks, how they are. If you can't deal with the way they smell, it erases so much. It's just like a barrier.
Like I've had girls tell me like, it's so funny. Like, if I go down on them or we're talking about whatever and like, yeah, my ex-boyfriend would lick my ass, but he would always make me hop in the shower first. I'm like, what? Like, I'm not saying you want somebody to be filthy or dirty.
Yeah.
But like he would, before he went down on you, he'd make you. One girl told me that before he would eat my pussy, he'd make me shower, and I'm like, ugh.
That's
fucking
weird.
Dick.
That to me, I feel like that's weird for a guy
What a
to
dick.
do that. And also, yeah, like, oh my god, I'm just picturing if any guy ever was like, yeah, like I'll go down on you, but like you need a shower first. I would fucking die. That'd be the worst. I would lose all self-confidence.
Or even before they even went down there, they just said that to her as principle, like they like a girl just to shower. And I know I might be in the minority with that, but I like feet that are smelly, not dirty. I like clean feet that are smelly. I'm a fucking weirdo. The older I get,
I love your smell stuff.
But I really do. It's always been my strong, very, very. Even when I quit smoking years ago. But I always had a good sense of smell.
Yeah.
But it can also drive me crazy too, in a good way.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest turn off. And physically, there's very few things I can think of that are an instant turn off.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Because somebody, your car. I can say, well, someone who's 500 pounds, but I wouldn't be in bed with them. Like, you can kind of tell. And
of course,
I'm sure there's plenty of women who would look at my physique and go like, oof, and wouldn't want to fuck me. And, so they wouldn't be turned off by me because they know what I look like anyway. So it's usually not physical.
Okay, interesting. And do you have a most embarrassing sex story? Like anything you can think of?
Not many are embarrassing to me, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean,
oh, God.
I got the crabs twice from the same girl. That might be the stupidest thing too.
What?
When I was 19, I didn't fuck much back then at all. It was before I did stand up. She was a girl that I had wanted to sleep with. She was dating my friend. And I remember I knew she was dirty because we were sitting on my front porch and I could smell through her pants. I'm not kidding you. I was sitting like on a step and she was standing about 5 feet from me, 4 feet from me, and I could smell her odor coming up from her jeans in a bad way. She was gross. So I had sex with her. And
that's the next sentence. Fucking repulsing. So I fucked her.
They're ugly. But I did. I had sex with her, and I noticed, this is, years ago, I still had pubic hair. And I was like, oh no, a crab. It drove me crazy. So I dried, hot washed all my clothes. Got the crab medication, ran it through my pubic hair. And then I was so horny that a week later I fucked her again.
What?
I wasn't sure. I think I did a prostitute too, so I wasn't sure who gave it to me.
When you were 19?
19. And then I had sex with her again, and I saw one of the little critters like right after I left her house. So it was her.
Ew.
So I called her and I told her, you got to get checked.
How is she just walking around with that and not...
Disgusting.
Oh my God.
Awful.
Oh my God.
Don't know. Don't know how she didn't notice.
That definitely has to rank in your, the dumbest thing.
That's dumbest and
incredible.
Worst sex story, yeah. That's pretty awful.
And this is the last thing I'll ask, what's the dirtiest thing you've ever done?
Hard to say. I mean... I've had more unprotected sex than I should probably have.
Okay.
Dirtiest thing.
Something that you were like, I've never done that, and you feel a little bit like afterward, oh wow, okay.
I've been pissed on. I didn't think that was that dirty, to be honest. I've done it.
Yeah.
By two girls that wanted it. I didn't think that was that dirty.
Yeah.
Dirtiest thing. Getting fucked with a strap on, maybe. Well, I couldn't take much.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love your stories. You have so many. You are much more. I mean, I have like a wide variety of people on, but I think you're probably the most open. You and Mitch Fatel.
Oh yeah.
Because he swings. He and his wife swing, and they met in a threesome. So he's got like crazy stories too.
Yeah, I would say, but I could never fully get fucked with a strap on. My body just won't tolerate it. It was more the idea of it. It was so perverse.
Yeah.
And it actually turned the girl on to do it. So the fact that she was that dirty.
Oh my God! Yeah,
made me.
You're a brave man.
I had a massage therapist do something one time. This is I have no idea what happened to her. I'd seen her a couple days in a row. And we were getting like really sexual vibes, and she like let me kiss her feet, and then she was massaging me, and she started like squeezing my face. Then she stuck her fingers in my mouth, and that would normally someone's hands would usually gross me out. But
Right.
they had massage oil; they weren't dirty.
Right.
But that she knew to do that, that she took that initiative,
Yeah.
like that she knew she was in that moment. Her energy was dominating me sexually so much that she could just stick her fucking fingers in my mouth. That made me crazy, even though that's not that dirty.
Right.
But it's the weird stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
To me, spanking, being spanked, none of that stuff is really dirty. Anal sex, who cares? It's
Yeah.
it's the dirtiest thing you've ever done.
Oh, I wasn't ready to answer that. I've tried anal, kind of like probably same experience as you with strap on, where I was like, nah, like I don't know. I didn't enjoy. It hurt more than I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I think there's a thing too for girls, like the idea of doing it enough that it wouldn't hurt. Like I don't like the idea of like that hole being stretched out. You
Fair
know what I
enough.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I never thought about it for such practical reasons, but you're probably right. I didn't break it down.
I like that like I feel like self-assured that nothing's gonna like come tumbling out.
Absolutely. It's like that one crew sock that always falls around your ankle. Yeah, I understand. Nothing worse than a sock.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, like the most embarrassing sex story that I've told on here is that I tried masturbating when I was 17 with like a manicure tool. Like it's like a handheld device or whatever, but it was shaped kind of like a cock, and I tried masturbating with it, but it was made of like a grippy rubber material. And I was like so determined, like just crazy, like the things you do when you're 17
Sure.
to think like I want to do this because I want to try it, and I ended up like literally like my vagina like swelled shut, and I had to go to the emergency room.
Oh, all right.
So that was like the craziest, worst.
Wow.
Like there's something about Mary type of moment where
Sure.
you're like, I tried to just do something in my like adolescence in the privacy of my own bathroom, and now like my mom knows, my family doctor knows, I'm in the fucking emergency room with no vagina. So
Oh, that's embarrassing. Yeah. That's a good one.
but I don't know if that's probably not the dirtiest. I don't know. I'm pretty dirty, but I haven't done. I don't know. I'm trying to rack my brain. It's hard because now Kane and I have been together for 3 years, so
Right, so
sex certainly like gets to that point where we're not doing anything nuts. I don't know.
Yeah, you settle in with somebody sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, every dirty story that someone tells you is the dirtiest thing they've done on the podcast is probably the second or third dirtiest thing they've ever done.
That is true. Or you like go all the way, and as soon as the recording's done, you're like, why did I say that? Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
like that.
It's funny. I had a girl one time tell me that she had fucked her boyfriend's dog, and that's not my thing.
What?
Yeah, like years before I knew her, she had fucked a dog.
What?
And it was
what?
It was a bizarre thing to hear, but it's like it didn't turn me on because I think any of the animal stuff is just gross.
Yeah, no.
But I love the fact that she was such a pervert. We never slept together. But it was
Oh my
so much
God.
fun that she told me that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I thought I was dirty.
Yeah.
There's always someone worse.
Oh, always.
Like, no matter how dirty my stories are, literally none of them involve dogs or any animal or minors. None of them.
Right. Those lines will always
Oh,
stay
yeah,
very
yeah. Those are
clear.
lines I have no desire to cry.
Right.
And that makes me feel good. Like, whew.
Yeah.
Thank God, I'm fucked up. But, man, there are certain neighborhoods I never want to go in. So
Right.
I feel okay about myself.
Good. Yeah, I'm trying to think of dirty stuff, and
Yeah, maybe it was anal for you. That's all right. Maybe you just...
yeah, I mean, that alone, I think most girls won't admit that they've done it. But
Have you
I
ever slept
think-
with two guys at once?
No,
Okay. That's what a lot of women would consider the dirtiest thing.
I haven't. I made out with girls,
Yeah, that's fine.
but that's, again, like, everybody.
it's
like
very
whatever. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm very open. Like, I've always
Sure.
been very open about, like, talking about sex, and that's why, like, I have this segment, and I think it's just really interesting. But,
So most of your stuff is probably from the neck up. Like you have that perverted mindset. You can kind of go and explore all this
Yeah.
weird stuff. But it's probably better that way.
yeah. So anyway, I will let you go. I know that you've done so many podcasts while you're here, and I'm just so happy that you wanted to do it.
Thank you for reaching out. I enjoyed it very much. This was fun. I didn't know what to expect because I haven't heard the podcast. But but
Oh, yeah.
this was really fun.
Oh, good. Thank you for doing it. Go follow Jim on Twitter if you don't already, at Jim Norton, and your website, jimnorton.com.
Yeah, my dates are on there and stuff like that. And Friday the 24th, the special comes out. So
Awesome.
I hope people like it.
Mark your calendars. All right. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
This has been a Podaholics Comedy Network presentation. Podaholics.com